Hello, hello, hello. This is another episode of the Mental Threats Podcast, episode 133. I'm here with a special guest, Tony Seven. You like to say something?
Hey, what's going on with y'all guys?
Yeah, Tony Seven is an artist from Charlotte. You were originally born and raised in Charlotte?
Born and raised Charlotte native.
Okay, cool. And how old are you?
I am actually 36 years old, sir.
Okay, 36. That's cool, man. That's cool. That means you've seen all different sides of Charlotte and everything, through the early 2000s and everything, late 90s type stuff. I was born in the late 90s, so it's just I really get to enjoy Charlotte to its best. Back then when the whole with the Charlotte Hornets, freaking you were there during that time with the whole Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues and everything, Eastland Mall and everything. You probably seen a whole lot of changes for the past couple decades, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I was here during all that era. I moved away and I came back, but for the most part, I've been in touch with Charlotte since the early 90s all the way to now.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's actually really, really cool and everything. And so, where'd you move off to exactly?
I went to college at Winston-Salem State University, so I moved to Winston-Salem for a while, and I lived in Raleigh for a while. I've always lived in North Carolina, just
different parts.
Yeah, different parts.
That's cool. That's cool. Actually, my auntie and my uncle went to Winston-Salem for school. I think. Have you ever heard anybody by the name of Demario Wanque? Or anyone by the name of Camille, I forgot what her name was. Her last name, her original surname was. She's a Wanque too. You ever heard none of those names before?
Not at the top of my head. That doesn't mean I don't know them, but yeah, not at the top of my head.
Okay, what about Sean Andrews?
Sean Andrews sounds very familiar, but
I think he played football for Winston-Salem. He's one of my mentors from North Carolina Central University. That's where I went to school. He worked there for a little bit.
Okay, I almost went to Central myself, actually. But yeah, like I said, his name rings a bell.
Yeah, I heard he was very popular back then, I think, and whatnot. But it's yeah, man, it's that's cool and everything. Just living in the North Carolina. I'm thinking about probably moving to Durham probably one time, maybe maybe after I get my master's degree and whatnot, because that's where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to go to Howard University in Washington D.C. and stuff, and then maybe stay there for a little bit and then come back down. Maybe buy a house in Durham or something like that. That's kind of where my life is at with that. But back to you and everything. In regards to the whole music thing, what led you to be on this path of music?
See, I actually started out with more so doing poetry, and I was pretty young when I started with poetry. So as I got older, I kind of developed into music around middle school. I was in school, so I did do music while I was in school, but I didn't actively put out any projects until I finished college, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that seems a little bit like me, actually. I think I dropped my first mixtape when I was 23 years old. But I was okay, I graduated 23 years old, and I dropped my first mixtape at 23 years old and everything. So it's right before I left college, I dropped the mixtape and everything. But it's still it's still a marathon and everything. Ain't nothing to compare and nothing to that nature and stuff. I've listened to a couple of your songs and everything so far. It seems they seem like a pretty cool vibe and everything. It's just what really influenced you in terms of artists in regards to the whole music thing.
Growing up, I listened to more so Twister,
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Twister, Juvenile, 3-6 Mafia. Definitely was a big 3-6 Mafia, Pastor Troy person.
Mm-hmm.
Going into college, I was probably more Kanye West. I liked a lot of Drake. I liked that transition into more singing type music. Just the blending of the genres. And then I guess more so now as far as current artists, you could probably put Kendrick up there. I listen to everything though. Really, it's not even really a genre thing. I listen to Paramore and stuff back in college and stuff too, or doing whatever's out, man. I'm pretty open when it comes to music.
Okay. That's cool, man, guys. It's good they even brought up Drake and everything during that time, the early 2010 times and everything when he was just making it in, bro. He was a beast. I was a kid, I was kind of sleeping on him because I was in middle school and everything. He's probably just for females like Chris Brown and everything. That's not my genre. But then it's you look back to his mixtape, oh wow, dude was actually mad hard. Definitely you got to check up with the artists and how they first get in and everything, because that hunger from then to now is black and night. It's day and night basically, and stuff of that nature. So it's Like I especially appreciated his project, Room for Improvement,
Yeah.
and Comeback Season. Like yeah, those two projects I have to just listen to it again and again because like it's a whole lot of elements to it that you just gotta digest and everything. And it's just like even from that with J. Cole, J. Cole's my favorite artist, so it's like just listening to his mixtapes and everything from the warm up, the come up, and everything. It's just awesome to digest. And even with Kendrick Lamar, a lot of his earlier mixtapes with Overly Educated and just stuff of that nature. It's always something to like really digest. So it's like to know that you're like a Pastor Troy person and a 3-6 person and everything. Like what are some projects from like from that circular group and everything that kind of influence it? Not like influence you, but what are some that just that you appreciate a whole lot?
I mean, as far as that early area, like so Twista is like my main one. That's Adrenaline Rush is probably the main one from him. But just keep in mind, when I was growing up, the internet was just really getting popular and stuff. Like the internet was not always around when I, at least not in the capacity that it is today. So LimeWire and Kazaa and download torrent sites were just getting big. So I used to download a lot of individual stuff from Pastor Troy. Like, I Declare War, It Helped Me Rhonda, a lot of stuff from Pastor Troy. Choices, was probably the biggest project from 3-6 Mafia. I was a big Choices person. The second Choices, a lot of stuff in 3-6 Mafia, Most Known Unknowns. But I liked a lot of Project Pat. So I listened to Getty Green, Mr. Don't Play. I mean, they had a lot of stuff. I feel like that, I guess I would still call them Southern, but that Memphis and that Southern music kind of influenced the Charlotte area a lot, not just, me as an individual. And then I had a lot of more Midwest influence when I started downloading stuff online.
Yeah, like Midwestern being like, Kanye West, because like Chicago and obviously Nelly is also. Where Nelly from again? I know he's from the Midwest, but like what part of it? Like he's from Louisiana?
He's from St. Louis, actually.
Oh, Missouri.
So, yes, yeah. Nelly was like real big on like the like as far as like popular music, and then he's one of the, if you ever see him live today, he has like a very good concert. You don't realize how many hits he actually dropped until you see him perform. But mainly Chicago, because I'm also a big Common fan. Like Common, that B album, and Kanye, yeah. So
what was that one, like Water for Chocolate? What was that?
Like Water for Chocolate was great too. I actually went back and listened to like Water for Chocolate, but most of those hits that were on the radio and everything like that was good. Kanye's I like diverse artists that don't just stick to one lane. The more I've gotten older and changed myself, I've grown to appreciate different artists and projects from different artists.
Yeah. Kanye West is definitely the king of just not staying in one lane. Yeah, you just move on like one thing. Life of Pablo. All of his projects sound so good. Like there'll be a little bit of similarity, especially with the whole Graduation trilogy and everything from The Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation. But like no album like sounds exactly the same. Like it's not like a continuation. It's a concept to a certain degree with the Graduation of the whole school concept. But it's like all his projects are all just so like different and diverse, but they're like all like like great projects. And Donda 2, you gotta pay to listen to Donda 2, right?
I don't even know if I paid to listen to Donda 2. I might have got access to it through a friend or something like that.
I need to check it out for sure. I know I listened to Donda 1 and everything, but I don't know. Replayability with Kanye West, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like it was like his older stuff had more replayability. But maybe it's just a nostalgia thing. But it's like, yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like one of the things I feel like that's missing nowadays is like neo soul vibes and like rap and like stuff like that. Like, we need more Lauryn Hill. We need to get back to Life Jennings, some Anthony Hamilton, and Common for sure. Like, I feel like we need to bring those vibes back because I feel with all the toxicity in music nowadays, it would just kind of be cool to balance it out with something. I feel like neo soul is that balance, for sure. I know you mentioned Pastor Troy and everything. When I think about Pastor Troy, I'm thinking about like his song Vice Versa and stuff of that nature. And this is yeah, mess with that. And then even like I'm actually surprised you haven't even brought up Mystical. I know Mystical had his own thing going on for him too.
Yeah, I mean, I had Mystical's album. I definitely listened to it for a good little bit. I listened to Brad. I listened to Eve. I listen to a lot of people. But as far as like impressionable and just, I still listen to their music today. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a few artists and stuff, but those are the main ones. Mystical was good. No Limit was, very impactful in the city. Master P played for the Hornets. So it's
Which
like,
is crazy.
yeah, that's crazy. But that whole era of music it's different from now. Like just like you said, Lauryn Hill. I was a big Lauryn Hill fan. I actually grew up. Like I said, I write more poetry than anything. So I just let it flow into the music. But Lauryn Hill, Miseducation Lauryn Hill is one of my top, if not one of my top favorite albums of all time. So
definitely worth keeping the vinyl for sure for years and generations. But it's like, yeah, man, no, for real. It's just like, and I'm actually happy to actually saw Nelly in concert and everything, like back on Dreamville Fest, and everything. The first Dreamville Fest, he was in concert. That was crazy. It's like, yo, you were there for the first Dreamville Fest? Were you there at the second one though?
I did not go to the second one. I didn't even realize the second one was happening. But yeah, I was at the first Dreamville Fest, definitely.
I'm going to the third one. I went to the first, second, and I'm going to the third one now.
Okay.
Like we just put a down payment for the whole layaway tickets and everything. Like I had to cash out my brother because my bank was messing up. I was like, oh hell no, not now, man. I had to get the pre-sale and everything. Yeah, we're on a group chat and everything. This shit is nice. Last time we met up with everybody in the group chat right near the Ferris wheel. It was like 50 deep. It was so crazy.
Oh yeah, nah. See, I was actually working when I was at the J. Cole Fest the first time. I do like CBD sales. So I was there with a CBD vendor and partner of mine working. And, of course, I got to witness the concert while I was there. But, yeah, J. Cole Fest is very impressive, very good for the North Carolina industry. And, any respecting Cole fan would love that experience. It was definitely people from all over the world there. You'd be surprised how far people came to be a part of Cole Fest. Dreamville Fest.
Oh yeah, no. I'm in a group chat with a lot of them. I'm coming from Chicago, New York. I think somebody's coming from California too, and everything. It's just like, yeah, when your influence is that deep, people are gonna make the trips to go. Like for sure. At least now, like I'm actually lucky. I live in Charlotte. I can just drive 2 hours and I'm there. When I went to the first J. Cole, the first Dreamville Fest, I was in school in Durham. So all I had to do was just take the train up the street a little bit, like about 30 minutes, maybe like 10, 30 minutes, and I was in Raleigh right there. So I walked all the way from the train station because I didn't bring a car at that moment. I walked all the way from the train station straight to the Dorothy Dix Park and everything. And I just stood in line. I was just ready to go. It was good times.
Yeah,
very good times.
Man.
Very, very great times. So like in regards to your businesses, I know you spoke about you sell like CBD products. Is that the only business you're in?
CBD, I pretty much deal in all manners of sales, but mostly like a wholesaler in general. So I did a lot of supplying, things to tobacco stores. CBD was the industry that really helped me hop out the porch as an entrepreneur as far as like not having support in any other fashion. Kratom, but yeah, any kind of supplies to tobacco stores is usually what I do.
Okay, would you say that you're kind of like a whiz in regards to everything CBD, or you just know enough just to sell?
I'm pretty knowledgeable about cannabis because I had a different so that wasn't even my first really entrepreneur endeavor. I really got into natural products in general. So I started off with selling like shea butter and black soap and stuff like that. And it was really due to like my father. When he was passing away, he was actually researching a lot of stuff about cannabis to try to find natural cures for some of the stuff he had going on. So I kind of picked up that knowledge, and CBD was emerging at that time frame. So, I just started to appreciate the cannabis plant a lot more in other capacities outside of weed. Everybody, wants to promote smoking weed, but there's so many other uses for the plant and so many other, I guess you could say, molecules that they're trying to find or they're discovering. So CBD was the one then, and now it's like HHC and THCO and THCP. They're different compounds of the cannabis plant that do different things.
Yeah, no, seriously, like CBD is actually good for like lowering stress and stuff of that nature, and also for our arthritis, I think too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely for arthritis, it's good to have it as like a pain reliever. Some people have used it in long-term effects to, help treat stuff like cerebral palsy and stuff like that. There's a lot of unproven things, but things that people use to assist it with, even behaviors with autism, a lot of different things. CBG is also another one, CBN, a bunch of different compounds that have been discovered in I guess you could say the last 5 or 6 years as far as actually implementing and legalizing them. and really put to use in society. So,
That is so crazy how it's like it's not legal like now. Like it's just like the whole cannabis thing as a whole. Not like we get it. Like you had issues with like immigrants in the beginning, but that was like in 18 whatever. Like who cares about that? Like, America is so intricated like for so long now. It's like I know you gotta fill up these prisons and everything, but it's like that's so tired. Instead of like filling up prisons, why not invest in the cannabis and kind of see how much profit you can make off that? Because they could like literally branch into clothing, medication, so many things, so many great uses that probably could even save this world. And y'all want to hold it back for what exactly?
Yeah, I really think it's just more so of a money thing. So for people who have their money, I guess, tied up into other industries that it might harm, like say, we're in North Carolina. We're pretty, liberal. We're kind of borderline state. We go liberal, conservative, pretty much everywhere. We're a purple state, I would like to say. But a lot of people's money here, as far as the older money, is tied up in tobacco, and the legalizing of cannabis in this state would deeply hurt the pockets of people who are investing in the tobacco industry. So I feel like a lot of the legislation against cannabis has something to do with the money they're making in other departments and the government not really ready to make the transition as far as knowing that how they're going to profit in the long term themselves more so, or maybe not even just the government, whoever the people who are influential or the government are at this time.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy how the tobacco industry thinks that because people be trying to use backwoods to even roll up like weed, like and stuff like that. So it's just I don't see what the issue is on that end. And plus, when you smoke cigarettes for a long period of time, weed kind of helps kind of clear out the lungs after a while. So it's just like they can work hand in hand with each other over time when you think about it. So it's just like keep in mind we live in a world where like weed is also legal and it could be an alternative and everything can kind of help people kind of manage it. So like if they wanted to go back to smoking cigarettes, but just like highly functional, keep in mind, compared to weed. Because like weed, you're just high, you just don't want to do anything. You just want to eat, do whatever. And weed's kind of functional in itself too. But people who don't want to get high but still want to smoke, that's what they might go in between those two. I mean, I even know like from Black Smoke or whatever, like they're doing these hookah things made out of like just fruit. So it's just like when you don't get high, you don't get the nicotine and whatnot. That could also be a challenge for them because some people want to smoke but don't want to like deal with the damages of being high. So it's just more options is better when you think about it. But I guess nobody wants to compete, in a capitalist society. They want to lobby and stuff. And I think that's just dumb as hell. Because like they really could have like opened like more opportunities to actually like help the economy, and you just don't want to because you want to be selfish. Like it's weird.
Yeah, of course. And the other part of that is the pharmaceutical industry, because that's a lot of that cuts into a lot of the profit. And they definitely have a monopoly on certain aspects of human society in America. So, yeah, but that's the nature of the man, the nature of the human.
I feel like it can work hand in hand. Like pharmaceuticals and weed can work hand in hand, to be honest. Because there's like certain chemicals in like medicine that just you can't find in weed. Weed doesn't cure everything. It just kind of helps with everything. It could even help like kind of like just support everything. A lot of it will probably go up because of that. But it's just like I don't know, like the opioid crisis and everything. People dying because of that. And it's just like I just want to really just speed up to the generation where we can at least just stop like get the whole heads out their asses when it comes to this stuff because y'all don't really give a shit about this stuff for real. It's just about the money, y'all old asses and everything. Freaking going to what's his name's private island to do a bunch of freaky shit, and it's like you can't just like give up the money just a little bit. You really need all that shit. I mean, shit, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty happy with my life as it is. I ain't got everything, but then I just get you a chicken sandwich or something and just like, you know what, life is all right. Like, I like listening to this music. Life is okay. You don't need that much shit to be happy. Like, it's just annoying. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. It's just, money is something that's corrupt and, of course we need it. I'm not going to say like, I'm not saying.
It gives you motivation.
Yeah, I'm not saying fuck money, but fuck money sometimes. Like, it's not.
Fuck the overindulgence of money. Because it's like, what do y'all need that shit for?
Exactly.
Like,
and even in music, like even what you were speaking about earlier as far as like, the pretty much the low frequencies of music right now. And it's really because they have a money formula that's coming along with these, these I guess you could say artists that kind of tap into the black traumas of the worst communities, and they keep feeding it and running the same music over and over again. And the thing is, there are artists out there that are a little bit more neo soul, or at least a little bit more, R&B or something in that nature, but they're not giving them the spotlight because they don't feel like they're going to generate the same amount of money in that case. And I'm not even going to blame it all on the industry, because us as a people, the black community is pretty much the ones that are the predominant factors in hip hop, and we place a big thing on money too. Every song, not I won't say every song, but a good majority of the songs created are talking about money or people,
money, sex, drugs,
money, sex,
violence.
That's the topics. That's what everybody wants to talk about right now. So.
Yeah, it'd be just mad weird, like people fucking pulling up at their pharmacy job and shit, bumping 21 Savage and shit like that. It's just like, hey, whatever, I fuck with 21 Savage and shit, but it's like, none of these songs y'all can really relate to for real, because it's like, well, how many guns do you really got in your house right now? And like, it's like, oh yeah, this relates to me. I also have this. I also have a tag. Yeah, I got ops too. I'm trying to waste. Like, it's just like, you don't really have that many ops, because it's like, for you to even speak like on shit like that, even on song. I know like lately they uplifted the law where you can't use music against the artist because it's just art. But it's just like the fact that we have to even go to that point, like it's just like, you never heard like the Whispers like freaking get like, or freaking who else, like the Whispers, Earth, Wind and Fire getting locked up. It's like, yeah, they made some weird lyrics and everything, we got to bring them in and shit, because it's just like they're talking about killing people, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like you're snitching on yourself. And even MF Doom brought that up with the whole Rap Snitches song and everything. It's just like, it's just weird how it's like we live in a culture that lives to validate itself based on negativity, and I feel like, I don't mind just a little bit of toxicity here and there, but let there be a balance. Like, there needs to be a balance. There ain't no balance. What's up with no balance?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind if it was just like a straight positive vibes. Like I was saying, even in recent culture, right? So in recent times, a lot of the news that we hear right now has been very negative about the black community in whatever capacity. So you got like, Kanye losing all this money because of his remarks, and then Kyrie because of sharing a post, and then you got
which ultimately doesn't matter when you think about it, because it's just like, what is going up and talking about Jewish people going to do to help the black community? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's more so in the sense, I like to think that some of the remarks are made for personal reasons as well, of course. But there is an awakening, I guess, that's needed within a society, because especially, Black Americans that do not know any of their African descent at all have this identity crisis with who they are. So we latch on to certain, aspects of American culture or whatever is been presented to us, and utilize that to define us. So, I think it's always a thing throughout the as far as the descendants of slaves in American history, where you latch on to something that gives you an identity. So this new thing right now I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big wave of people identifying with, we're the Black Jews and things in that capacity. So it's good in an awakening sense, but in the sense of how it's been reprimanded, and then, and how it's looked down upon, or even to the level of scrutiny that is been placed on, is almost exposed, and almost kind of proves Kanye right about some of the stuff that he said, and as well as Kyrie. So.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with them, but it's like, dude, it's just like, on one hand, it's like, jumping on screen and be like, oh yeah, we're the Black Hebrews, and it's just like, Jewish people, this, it's all the evil, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, at the same time, like, what really breaks down the Black community, I feel like it's really just the Black community, when you really think about it. Because it's like, like, we all know what the enemy is. We all know what 400 years of, like, oppression has done to us. We're aware. So it's like, why aren't we taking the steps to actually, like, reverse this? Not in a sense reverse, because you can never reverse what happened in the past, but at least take the due diligence to kind of like counter a lot of like the stuff that's been said against us in the Black community as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, absent fathers, mass incarceration. Why do we always like push behavior that leads us in being incarcerated if like that's such a negative thing? It's just like, trying to build the Black family up, things of that nature. Going to HBCUs, that's also a pretty good factor that helps and everything. Trying to start our own companies, start our own banks. I'm just saying, just things of that nature. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm just saying, why don't we focus our energy on like trying to find solutions instead of trying to focus on pointing the blame on somebody else? Because pointing the blame is only going to do so much. Like, what is that going to do?
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame anybody else really for your circumstance. You have to have some point of accountability for where you're at in life and society. But it is good to recognize the factors and the things that contribute to you being here. Like, for instance, there is no reason why uh, black people shouldn't be the heads of the entertainment industry or the sports industry in all capacities. Why aren't we the lawyers that are drawing up the contracts between our own companies? And then the other thing is, to that extent, like how much of it is, are we just perpetuating something because that's what's gonna get us paid? Because brings us back to money, or is that really what, a lot of the rappers don't even live the lifestyle that they're putting in their music, so it just says something like, who is the one that says, hey, we need this type of music in order for us to sign your check for a record deal? And then the artist, to be honest, is at the highest disadvantage. You got a lot of artists who are dying before they even reap any of the rewards of their music, or even when they are alive, whether they're going to be incarcerated. No, we're fine. They might be incarcerated in some capacity, and that affects some of the royalties on their music, or just don't even have the knowledge or sense to even drop a great contract, you know what I'm saying, in order to make sure they benefit properly from the music. So yeah, you have to take accountability on yourself and to an extent, and then you have to, be wise enough to know history and know, what you need to do as a culture overall to better the circumstances of the future.
No, seriously, like for real, man. It's just like, it just feels like, in one hand, it just kind of feels like a setup to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like out of nowhere, y'all just talking about Jews now, like, and uplifting black people. Weren't you wearing a Make America Great hat like not too long ago and everything? Like, it's just stuff of that nature, And I love Kanye West. That's one of my influences, man. Without Kanye West, there's no Big Sean, there's no Tyler the Creator. Like, he's like the reason why a lot of my other favorite artists are even prospering today, because then it would just be strictly gangster stuff forever and ever and ever and everything, and it's just like, like literally, like, people, like, I want to give his flowers now, especially like when he's alive. You can't deny like Kanye's influence on the culture. But at the same token, it's just like, I feel like, even when he was getting all that money, he really could have reinvested into like an HBCU. HBCUs are so underfunded and everything, like, nowadays. Like, there's so many HBCUs that even close and everything. And it's just like, even beyond that, like, we live in a time where there's an influx of people actually going to HBCUs now because they see how lit it is. They see like what's going on, the opportunities that go there. Like, North Carolina, like, A&T and everything is being like fined because of the influx of people from out of state going to NCA&T, which is dumb. It sounds like some stuff they just came up with. It's just like, what? There's too many people there. Okay, now let's find them. Like, what part of the rule book did they say, oh, you can't come here? Like, do you know how many people go to NCA&T? How many people speak well at NCA&T? You know what I'm saying? Like, all these big figures, they will send money to like Europe for like a burning church or something. And, freaking Flint, Michigan's water is still dirty and everything. HBCU's underfunded. I don't know. It's just like, you want to point out the Jews, but I don't know. It's just like, the Jewish people aren't telling you what to spend on. The Jewish people ain't telling you to put money on a G-Wagon and stuff, like 10 G-Wagons. Like, you got like 5. Why you need 10 for? And it's just stuff like that, Like, it's just, I don't know. I was brought up poor. So it's just like, I see shit like that. I'm like, you don't need all that shit.
Yeah, you're correct in the sense of the mindset of the black community. So it's just more so, yeah, I guess they're just pointing out the fact that it's being exploited, and it's like, hey, wake up, don't fall for the tricks. I'm kind of more, I guess you could say, prone to what those remarks and those statements are because I was reading like a Marcus Garvey book called A Message to the People. And one of the things that he was actually speaking about was the dealings with the Jewish community and the black community. And I'm a big, I'm a political science major, so I listen to a lot of, like black political thought was one of my favorite classes. So I always go back and listen to people or read things from, black historic figures of that level. But he actually was very specific. He spoke about all the communities, and he gave even the Jewish community their flowers in the book and everything. But he spoke about, like, as far as the business dealings with the Jewish community being problematic for the black community, and his time period was like early 1900s, late 1800s. Like, he's way back then speaking about these things that someone's reiterating today. So for me, it just kind of struck a moment like, dang, I'm reading this book from like older culture and he's talking about this, the same thing. But at the same time, I don't necessarily believe that Kanye's remarks are specifically for the community. I think he has an individual motive, whether it was, for him to get out of his Adidas contract, whatever it could be anything. I mean, who knows what's on the minds of rich people, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, it is what it is. It literally, it is what it is. But I feel like the future is bright for hip hop, though. I feel like things are gonna change pretty soon and everything. Although, like, there are some agendas that's being pushed. It's like, okay, it's like that's weird or whatnot. But it's like I feel like the way how it's like people are starting to like look towards like people who are more independent and everything, and I feel like that could also give more space for us to make more decisions for ourselves, as opposed to like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're under contract, blah blah blah. Like another, it's like slavery in a sense, but with extra steps. Whereas like now, it's like I feel like like you can pretty much do whatever. We literally can put stuff on the internet, Spotify playlists and everything. There's more ways to get attention to your product than just having to like hope that somebody picks you. I hope that like a CD, like maybe they pick you through a CD. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like you can still pray and everything that things get better, but now like you can do all sorts of things like bring attention to your product. Which what I love about this generation is like even though it's kind of petty with a lot of things, it's like at least there's more room to actually grow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like in regards to like just the rap scene in Charlotte so far and everything. Like, well, what are your thoughts in regards to how the climate is in Charlotte so far? Where do you think it could be taken by the end of the decade?
By the end of the decade, I mean, like you said, the music scene is actually getting better. People, even the listeners are more conscious and knowledgeable than ever before. So I think you're really getting to a space where, people are drawn away from that murderous, hip hop and stuff. I mean, of course, it's the popular thing, so that's what's being pushed to a degree. But it's it's getting to the point where people are like, hey, I really want something of a different nature or something more substance. So hopefully in the North Carolina scene, it I could speak for Charlotte, but just North Carolina as a whole is really an untapped area. We're not like Atlanta or LA that have this like one base culture. You know what I'm saying? We have the Baby, we have Luke, we have Luke's doing pretty good. I'm actually from the city. I'm more of a De Niro Farrar person.
Yeah, De Niro Farrar is definitely slept on. I kind of hate myself. I should be listening to his projects a little bit more because like, he's really good. He was on the whole New Charlotte joint. Oh
yeah, definitely New Charlotte. I've been listening to him since Patriarch. So I'm big De Niro Farrar person. It's, Elevator J. There's a lot of artists I can name here. You know what I'm saying? And here we still have the burden of establishing what the Charlotte culture is. So, hopefully by the end of the decade, we can showcase more than a lot of and not even to take away from the Baby, because part of what he's doing is some of the Charlotte culture. He hit the pop scene that really kind of broke the surface. I mean, one of the major artists from Charlotte that's able to even do anything with Cole that's not signed to Cole, in that capacity. But, hopefully we're able to show an identity and, even my presence at my age is more so to kind of paint the steps and picture of the culture of showing like the growth of Charlotte, maybe some things that people don't even know about Charlotte from the old times up until now. Because, there's a lot of lack of knowledge about the culture. Like I like even the fact that you recognize the Eastern Mall, gear. People don't know that that's like a staple of Charlotte. That's not.
Still trying to get it tatted.
Yeah,
That's definitely on my bucket. Gotta get it tatted.
Yeah,
it's my side of town now. I'm from East.
Yeah, from the East. Yeah, man. I'm a North Side person, so
I sense that.
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the on this side, everything's about Hidden Valley. Everybody wants to talk about the mark of the Hidden Valley Kings, and the people joke about Sugar Creek and Grand Street, but then you have arts areas growing up like Camp North End and stuff that kind of help facilitate the culture. So
I know that area is pretty good too.
Yeah, it's definitely a thriving area right now. But yeah, so by the end of the decade, man, hopefully we have someone to represent all sides. Like even the fact that we had to talk about the sides of Charlotte, people don't realize that there's a different culture for each side of town, like West Side, East Side,
South Side,
South Side. Yeah, that's a big thing here. Like people, one of the first things they want to know is what side of town you're from. If they know you're from Charlotte.
Yeah, no, seriously. And it's like some people don't even like the side of they grew up on and everything. Like it's like I grew up on the East, and it's like I rep East to a certain degree, but I'm more attuned to like the West. That's where all my friends is from. Most people I get along with are from the West and everything. Most of my family folks, like it's just like some of them stay on the West and stuff. Like my grandfather and his brother kind of stayed on North Side for a little bit, so I'm kind of familiar with North Side to a certain degree. I know my Uncle George lived in Hidden Valley and everything before I even knew what Hidden Valley was. I was like, oh yeah, that's just where he lives at and everything. And that's that's what it was. Okay, so that's what they're on and stuff of that nature. But it's like I don't really think it's like we need one person to represent all of Charlotte, because I feel like that'd just be dumping a whole lot of pressure onto one person for no reason. I feel like Charlotte owes a responsibility to each other to kind of like uplift each other. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't saying we all gotta like freaking like hug and like kiss up for kumbaya or nothing like that, freaking on some hippie type shit. But I'm just saying, it's just realize that just like when people are really trying to make their way in this industry, to not really get in their way or try to hate on them or whatnot, and to try to like do the absolute most for nothing. I feel like there's a whole lot of jealousy that goes on in the city, and I feel like a lot of that is just kind of it's held up a little bit more than it needs to be. Like I feel like when people hate on somebody, you need to really recognize it for what it is, and not try to like, oh no, he's just making fun of him because he's better than him, or oh he's doing because like no, he's hating on him because he's fearful of what he could be and everything, and that bothers him because he's not doing shit. Like you don't know like how many times, even as an artist, man, just how many times I had to bump into people who act like they knew so much and everything, try to critique you based on some like surface level and everything. And it's just like, who are you? And it's just like, you don't have shit for yourself. You live with your moms and shit, and you're trying to spread rumors and everything, try to start shit with who and everything. All that energy they could have put into their art, and then it's just like people support that, and then when the person doesn't really make it to where he's supposed to make it, it'll be like, oh, what happened? And it's just like he didn't have the principles within himself or the discipline to make it to that threshold. And it's just, I feel like a lot of success, like for everybody, comes down to your principles, your values, and everything, and just being consistent on that end. It's just like just how you carry yourself in that end is what's going to carry you throughout this industry and everything. It's just like you can't switch up. You can't be a backstabbing type person and think that things going to be all right with you, especially you're starting in the city that's still trying to make an identity for itself. You can't be on that type of steps right there, because it's like then it's just you're gonna be lost with nothing because you already backstab everybody you kept close to. So that's just how that's what I think about that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, definitely in the city you need a lot more people showing love to each other. I'm real big. Of course, there's got to be reciprocity between everything, but everybody wants to be king of something at the same time. So, stay to your art, like you said, stick to your principles. But between the city, it needs to be a love for, just the art and the community. And I understand certain subject matter and stuff might draw attention between people, but at the same time, it's no different from, you got Jay-Z and Nas from New York. You got to be able to coexist, and even from the same size of town, like you got. Nas is huge from Queens, but, so is LL Cool J. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to give everybody roses during their time and respect everybody for their art and craft, and, just, represent who you are at the end of the day. Be king of yourself, and that'll help you be, what you're supposed to be in this world.
Yeah, man, kings collaborate. Like the best of kings collaborate to make their kingdoms like thrive and everything. You know, it's just like I don't really care for much about calling myself a king or trying to be the best rapper ever or whatever. I just try to do the best that I can do and just put the right content out there, and that's what I'm focused on. You know, like that's what my goals are more aligned with. Just me, just giving back to a medium that basically saved my life and everything. So like when I talk to other artists, it kind of pick their brain out, like how they think about things. You know, it's all a growing process, but it also just kind of shows like why we're all connected through hip hop. Like hip hop is actually something that can really bring people together instead of use it as like, oh, the beat try to kill each other. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not good look, especially for Charlotte. I feel like we could really, especially this social media age and everything. I'm so linked, tapped in with a whole lot of different artists, so many different background executives and stuff of that nature and everything. We could pretty much see how that could grow over time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just working, collaborating with each other, seeing what that we're taking for that. You know, just support each other. Somebody drop a project, repost it. You know, they drop a song, repost it. What's stopping y'all, man? It's just it don't cost nothing. It don't cost nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, would it really be a skin off your bones to just repost and everything? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's never that much. And then some of the stuff is like, you know, like I can say personally, you get frustrated if you are the person that, you know, tries to facilitate this, but then when it comes, you know, when you drop your project and the same people that you showed a lot of love to don't do the things that you do. So, you know, when it comes to showing love in that capacity, you have to learn how to be selfless and, you know, not expect certain stuff in return. But, you know, also you have to, you know, you gotta make sure that you preserve and protect your energy. So you got to put your energy towards the people. You know, you want to be alongside people that are going to grow with you, not necessarily people that are going
Trying
to
to compete against you and do all the kind of petty shit in the background. Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah, so, you know, but you're absolutely right, man. The city needs more love, you know. Definitely, man. All the artists need to really, even if you don't work together, just respect each other.
Nah, yeah, seriously, like on the real shit, for real, because I feel like Charlotte could really be something for real. It's just like, you know, I know it's just like, you know, sometimes I hate on how people like be on some nut shit in this city from time to time, but it's like I truly believe like we're like the underdogs. We have yet to win a Super Bowl championship. We have yet to win an NBA Finals, but I feel like it's all coming soon one day. So it's just like, you know, we should be just working hard, preparing for the time where Charlotte's really, really on. And because it's like, you know, I feel like we're kind of popping to a certain degree. Like we're on the rise. The baby's kind of in some hot water right now. People trying to clown dudes like for giving free tickets or whatever and stuff of that nature. And I'm like, you know, it's kind of crappy. I'd hate to see it, but it's just like, you know, I'm hoping that he pulls out of this like well unscathed, you know. Although he is kind of pulling something like a little bit corny and everything, you know. It's just like, you know, the whole Megan Thee Stallion saying that you use, like, you know, like we kind of all knew it to a certain degree. You didn't have to say it. That's kind of how I felt about it. When I first got that news, like, oh really? He did? Oh okay, like obviously, you know, because it's just like, but that's just life and everything. You don't just kind of put stuff out there to get clout off it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's just not cool. But regardless, I really hope that, you know, he kind of overcomes like whatever issues he's going to overcome. You know, like he's still like the face of Charlotte. To me, that's just kind of how I see it. So it's like you don't want the face to kind of struggle, because if the face struggles, then we're all struggling. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I see it. You know, I don't try to pray and be like, oh yeah, he's struggling. Oh yeah, he's going through a whole lot of things. Like dude's father and brother passed away. You know, so it's just like, you know, there's probably some things going on in his life that's stressing him out also. You know, and then being at that level, people want your head. People try to fight with you at a Louis Vuitton store. You know what I'm saying? It's just a lot that you ain't got to deal with. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't want. I think people get so caught up in their own success that they try to, you know, thrive off of other people's failures. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's not going to help the city be any more successful. So at the end of the day, you kind of hope everything comes to a resolution with him or just for the city in general and stuff. But yeah, he definitely has the potential to even bounce back. Like the problems that he has or the spaces that he's been in, a lot of people that are speaking on him are not even in the capacity to even feel or relate to whatever he's going through. So, you know, where he's at right now, you know, it is a point. I mean, I feel like a lot of stuff on the city is very negative right now. You got that. You got the young woman, Shanquella Robinson, who...
yeah, I wanted to talk about that for a little bit, too.
Yeah, who you know, met an unfortunate demise, whatever. that may be. And you got the young man in Virginia. He was from Charlotte who was killed in that shooting in Virginia at the school. So we got a lot of like down low frequencies going on right now for the city, but just like you said, there's a lot of greatness just pending here. The only, even in the state of North Carolina, the only championship is actually I think it's hockey. Yeah, so in Raleigh, which is not even in Charlotte, but Charlotte, it's just a lot of greatness pending, and when we get the right frequencies together and really move right, it'll happen for the city. I would like to see it be more like, outside of the Dolph situation, like Memphis. Like you see it, those artists, they come together and collaborate even when they're on different labels. They don't have the same things going on. They're still able to put something together, and they're not as large as like in a New York or in Atlanta or Houston or LA. They're still able to really come together and support each other culturally, even with their violent music or anything they got going on. They're all about
collaboration and everything. I'm glad you even brought up Memphis. Like, yeah, dude, like, seriously, I was just thinking about it the other day, like, because, like, Young Dolph has passed, like, a rest in peace to Young Dolph for a while, but it's like that, even that whole scene and everything, Memphis ain't too far from Charlotte, just the same way as Atlanta ain't too far from Charlotte either, but it's just like, for them to really have built a culture where they can all collaborate really says a whole lot about, like, just the pettiness that goes on in our town. But it's like, we could be talking about this forever, but like, back to you in regards to like music and everything. What were some like obstacles that you had to face through this journey of like in hip hop and everything personally?
Personally, I mean, I did a transition of just coming out in a different aspect because I waited till the end of college, whereas most people doing my thing, it was like you had to be all in, and they wanted you to like just abandon school and stuff. I was really dedicated to get my degrees and stuff before I really hopped out there, and then I was really intent on not signing to a record label. So I've always been on this, self-distribution, putting yourself out there. So any struggles that go along with that, especially when you don't have the exposure of like a mainstream artist, that's what you sign for. You sign for it because they plug you in and they're gonna put you all over the broad screen, no matter where you at. So, I think just figuring out, being an independent artist along the way is a trial every day, because every independent artist wants the reach and influence of the mainstream artist without the without losing your creative control.
Yeah, no, see, that's the main thing I don't want to lose is creative control and everything, because it's all still a process and everything. They kind of like trying to delve into your soul and everything. So like when I hear about other artists saying, "Oh, we can't drop this year," they be dropping songs prematurely because the label wants them to, like that's a whole lot to deal with. I'm like, that's too much stress for something that you're creating. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's doing that? Like, why should they do that? I mean, if you got like a contract to drop a certain number of albums, sure, that's fine. But it's like telling you when to drop it, when to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like if they were collaborating and trying to plan with you, that's cool. But if they're not doing that, then it shouldn't be up to them. That's just kind of how I see it and stuff of that nature. So it's like in regards to advice, what advice would you give to like younger artists and everything that are trying to make it independent?
I mean, right now, I think the social media era has really put the younger artists in an advantage over the industry. If you can generate the buzz between your groups of fan bases and your friends and just people that know you at an early age, don't fall victim to, predatory financial schemes when it comes to music, and just keep pushing your individuality. The more you are, the more you attract people to just your energy and your music, and you can really be your own platform and, be innovative with your music and merchandise or anything that you use to create and get your money. Just stay creative, man, and just love yourself, man. Don't fall victim to anything out here.
Yeah, definitely don't want to fall victim to living out here. So it's like, and growing up in Charlotte, what schools did you go to?
I actually went to elementary school at Piney Grove, Oakline, and Nathaniel Alexander. So that's the east, west, and the north side. I went to high school, Vance, for my first year. I spent like a little bit of that in boot camp, and then I went to Harding, and I graduated from Harding.
Oh, okay, Harding, cool. That's cool. Could you explain all the differences between Vance and transitioning to boot camp, and going into Harding, and how like that situation was?
Vance was very new when I was coming up. I was probably going to be the first class that would have spent all 4 years at Vance High School. So it was actually a very nice school. IBM had funded it and just built it. So it had all the resources. Of course, the alternative schooling and the boot camp stuff with no resources there. But going to Hardin, it actually was a lot less resources, but the culture to me was a little bit healthier for me. Maybe because I was away from the side of town I grew up on. I didn't know everybody so much. It just enabled me to kind of flourish more academically. So, both of them were great schools. I still kept in touch with Vance and used to go to Vance functions while I was at Hardin and stuff, and vice versa. But Vance definitely had more money than Hardin back then.
Okay. And now it's kind of different now.
Yeah, definitely. Hardin has reached some success in other departments, and Vance has had his ups and downs. But Vance is still a pretty good program. I mean, well, it's not Vance anymore. It's what did they change it to? They changed it to something. They got rid of the name Vance because
dude was racist.
Yeah, the dude was racist pretty much. So I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but but it's a good program over there. I mean, Hardin's a magnet school, so I think it's something about just being a magnet school and attracting people from all over the city that creates a different culture at that school than other schools. I really appreciate going to both schools, but Hardin definitely kind of put me in tune with things that were going on different sides of Charlotte.
Yeah, no, seriously, man. I wish I would have went to one of those major high schools and everything. My mom's put me in a damn charter school. I don't know what the hell she was thinking and everything. I wish I would have probably went to maybe Rocky River, maybe Hawthorne. Because Hawthorne was actually in my school zone. So it's just we had different school zones. Y'all probably came up then during the time where you could take the bus anywhere. We had to take a bus in your zone and everything. So it was a Garinger or Hawthorne or something else. I don't really know. Or East Mac, I think. Maybe East Mac. And stuff of that nature, but it's just did you know anybody from Vance or Harding that kind of grew up to be like a large artist, or just anybody important nature, or is it just everybody just kind of went their own way?
I've actually known a lot of different people, but sometimes I just don't realize how important people have become. But I kind of stick to as far as me personally, my groups of people like you mentioned, Alien 704, I think before.
Oh, you went to school together?
Yeah. We definitely went to school together. We grew up together. But nobody that I would just name drop in the conversation and stuff like that.
Okay, sure, it's no problem. In regards to your interests outside of hip hop, exactly, what are your interests outside of hip hop? Are you a big sports fan? Are you into anime? What's your thing?
I still, of course, it's still music and poetry. I have a thing for politics.
Okay.
I do plan on getting a law degree. I plan on going to Central, actually. Going for a law degree. So, I'm really into things that are going to further the Black community in other ways and change the nature of the state of North Carolina and cultivate the culture here for the Black community, for the city, and for the state as a whole.
Yeah, getting into politics ain't a bad idea. I'm thinking about maybe doing the same thing if I go to DC, maybe if I go to a little Democratic events or whatever, something like that, maybe lock in with whoever's there, stuff of that nature, because it's just, I don't know, do you really need to have a law degree to get into politics? You ain't got to, do you?
You don't have to, but it's something I have a personal interest in doing. I have a master's actually as well in public administration. So it's just, I think it's more of a personal goal.
Yeah, sure. You picked the right school, man. Our law school is crazy good in North Carolina Central University. They got their own building and everything. It's some really good stuff. If I didn't go into business, I would definitely go into law, for sure, because it's just even how the lawyers literally represent their clients and everything, go into intricacies of law and everything of that nature, and just from every word, every aspect of things, you know what I'm saying, just that all could, I feel that could also be a very big help to even the Black community as a whole, because it's just if we had more Black owned law agencies and everything that we can trust and stuff, instead of those that just be you just pay them money and they still screw you over regardless, I feel that could definitely, there's so much I feel that could help. We have more Black hospitals. I feel that would definitely help Black women in regards to like especially with like birthing departments and just everything in general because like they die the most within the hospitals, which is crazy. That it's like that, but it's just like I feel like it would help for sure. Beyond CBD, are there any other industries that you want to invest in?
Um, I'm into like the electric cars. I'm into the cryptocurrency. I'm into green energy, so solar. Anything that's really going to better the environment and the community long term.
Okay, yeah, no, most. What about solar energy? You think about maybe solar energy?
Yeah, definitely solar energy. So solar energy is the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely considering like because like I'm Liberian, I'm really like deep with the whole business aspect. Those things like that intrigue me, and I always be trying to come up with new ways that could probably help my back home, like my country back home, and stuff of that nature. And solar energy is one of the main things I want to invest in for sure to kind of help lighten up the whole country and everything. Probably upgrade the literacy rate a whole lot.
Hold up. Who that? No, I was saying that.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine. Well, we got like a good like 6 minutes. It's fine. Like that's just we gotta just get over like the hour threshold. It's just something I try to give everybody.
Okay.
So we're pretty much almost there. We're not gonna lag
my
this on
fault.
forever. And it's fine. I know it could be kind of long. It's like a process. I just try to give everybody the same like respect as best as I can.
Oh yeah, no worries.
So like we got a good 6 minutes. And anyway, so it's like what are some things like in the past, like in Charlotte, that it's just like that you feel like it's kind of lost like nowadays that you feel like you wish was like more like back up, you know?
I mean, skating culture. Like skating was like a real big thing, especially like trade winds and stuff back in the day. Even ice skating at Eastland Mall. Of course, like the pictures at Eastland Mall.
I fell on my ass every time I touch that ice.
Yeah, I'm planning on going ice skating this evening. Actually, I haven't been since then. Let's see what else. I mean, dancing culture was actually a big thing when I was in school. The freestyle culture, but freestyle battle in as a whole is kind of changed over the nature of the thing. And then even some of the I don't necessarily wish for it to come back, but just the knowledge of it, like how the gang culture is now versus how it was back then before like the internet and stuff was a lot different. Yeah. So it just didn't have the same. It was more like a family atmosphere than it is now, where it's just like people just kind of gravitate to whatever violence and stuff they see online. So, but just family, community, cookout, sports. I mean, Charlotte was fun back in the day. I enjoyed growing up in Charlotte. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Charlotte for me was like kind of different. I don't know. It's just like I feel like I could have had more fun had I gone to schools that were more local to me. It's like I went to schools like outside of like of my area, so it's like I always felt like I didn't belong. Someplace like I had to go to freaking Ballantyne Plantations for school in middle school, and then went to Matthews for high school. It was like a charter school. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't like the first time I ever felt like at home. Like was like when I went to like North Carolina Central University, because it was just like everybody was just chilling. Like nobody was beefing over some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like those places people were just doing way too much for nothing and everything. But that's crazy that you actually like still have like actual memories and everything from Eastland Mall. Like I have a couple memories from like childhood when I was young, like I was legit and everything. But y'all was like in the age where it's like y'all could have just drove there, took the bus there, and like y'all was like much older and everything. So it's like explain like how that life was and everything for y'all.
I mean, Eastland was fun, man. By the time I was able to really go to I actually went to Eastland more when I was younger because it was like the only mall. So like going there, used to take field trips to go, ice skating and stuff. Discovery Place is like another field trip they always just take you on back then.
Love Discovery Place.
Yeah, Discovery Place is great, man, for the kids. But Eastland Mall was just like a culture thing. Everybody wanted photos from Blue Kiss. If you were gonna get the new shoes, you wanted to get them from Eastland Mall. People just used to go there to hang out, and it did get crazy towards the end of it. People
trying to get into fights and everything. I heard there was a rape that happened there.
I don't know about a rape. I never heard about a rape, but it was definitely some shootings in Eastland Mall.
Yeah. Man, it's like, why do you want to shoot at a mall? Like,
it's a Charlotte thing. It's happening in North Lake, and then
I don't get what's the point of that, because there's so many like bystanders in the back. I know you probably see your ops out there, but I don't know. Throwing hands would like be like a lot more glorious than like taking their life.
Back then, it was a lot more fighting than it was shooting. Like shooting is kind of taking over everywhere now, but back then it was a lot more. I used to even First Ward Community Center was like a big thing, and that was like one of the First Ward Memorial Stadium. the high school football games and stuff back then. They were shooting sometimes, but it was like one of those moments where you get all sides of Charlotte would come to it. So it was always a big like East Side, West Side rivalry, or especially like Garinger and West Charlotte and stuff. Where stuff would happen and people just kind of fight it out, and go on and go home and talk about it. But but now
I think the difference is because y'all didn't have internet the way we do, so like people can like take camera phones and you see somebody getting beat up and everything. It's like then they like gonna hang over their head for some years and everything.
Yeah, the internet definitely has ruined a lot of people's pride in that capacity, because it's one thing when you're hearing about it and people can talk about it and people make up whatever story. It's another thing when you got to relive that moment over and over again because someone's posted it online and you can't get it off of their page or whatever. So the internet, as great as it is, has definitely did some damage to the pride of people, to the point where they feel like they need to do something on another level to regain their pride.
Yeah, and this goes into the point where people trying to like murder folk and everything, and it's just like that stress and everything, that anger and everything, that just ferments over time and everything. So the point where people just don't think, and that's just what you get and everything. But we're getting pretty close to like the hour threshold and everything. Is there anything you want to let the audience know before we pass this on and like end this episode and whatnot?
Oh man, love yourself, love God. Love each other. You can check out my music at Tony704.com. I got a lot of projects. I go by Tony 7 now. I used to go by Tony G. But just listen to some stuff, man. I got so much different types of music genres. I got singing stuff, more poetic stuff, some hard stuff, soft stuff, whatever. It's a little bit of everything. So my most recent project is 10-4-4-4, which is actually more of like it's kind of more like dance music and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I think the most popular project of mine is probably going to be Springs. Mm-hmm. Springs, people like Springs 11 on Sugar Creek. So, check me out. Check Toasty out, man. Just show us some love.
It would be nice. Thanks for that shout out right there. Also, is it all on SoundCloud? Or you got stuff on Spotify, or is it just all over the place? Like, what platforms can we listen to most of your stuff at?
My stuff is usually going to be on like Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But you'll find more of my music on all platforms. But if you go to Tony704.com, I don't have all my music up there quite yet, but it will be, and all my links to everywhere more music is on Tony704.com.
All right, cool. I can also send you some information. I know there's a page on Instagram called Crowd Freak and like Distro Freak, and they've used their distribution service like DistroKid. They can hook you up with like festival opportunities to perform and everything. I know you got it. I know you might have experience of like performing and everything, but yeah, maybe you might want to consider performing at a festival, or whatever. Like I could pretty much hook you up with them and stuff of that nature.
Okay, that's dope.
All right, no problem. I appreciate you for hopping on for the Mental Threats podcast, episode 133. Thank you very much, Tony 7, and that's it. We sewn in and now we're sewing out.